Hello everyone and welcome back to Dog on the Docks,
Episode 2.
the only podcast where a dog has somehow invaded the docks, that being my good friend Ryan.
Well,
How you going?
you opened the gate. I just walked in.
Well, today is episode Ebony O'Day, or is it Ellie?
Alex Blackburn. Right? That's something we ought to keep for future episodes, though. I like that.
And I guess last weekend, we've obviously had some fun because I was full on going Australia, yeah.
He stole my idea of going to Sydney.
But yeah,
I did it episode 1. It's his turn.
But yeah, not like the Australia versus Ireland game was definitely a lot of fun. Especially like the first 5 minutes. Australia just was completely on fire. Like I'm not sure you'll ever see such classy football. Even like from North Melbourne. Is that amazing?
Well, North Melbourne was half the team they played. So.
True.
On both sides.
Actually, speaking about sports, I've got a great story for you today. So no, it's the wrong code, but we had our Australian Public Service Soccer League today. I forgot which department we were up against, but the good news is I have kicked my first ever goal in a soccer game.
Congratulations.
And guess what? It was the winning goal. The team I was playing for, won 3-2. So my goal was the difference maker. Here was the bad news. I was playing for the opposition because they were town players. So
if you're playing for the opposition, you're supposed to throw the game.
So I single-handedly brought them up from 8th to 7th on the ladder and put us down from 7th to 8th on the ladder. So I guess I'm still an absolute soccer player. Oh dear. But anyway, how did your weekend go?
I saw us lose to Collingwood right after I spent half of last episode batting them. So.
Oh my goodness, are we going to be all wrong on our Collingwood predictions? I haven't got the ladder up on what we predicted, but yeah.
Well, I had the third last, so.
Well, you've got them in like round 2, don't you?
No, we don't play them.
Oh, you don't? Oh, it's Richmond. That's right.
Yeah, well, they're beat them. I ranked them just as much.
Oh dear. Well, it's interesting because I didn't get to see us play Adelaide this week. Mind you, it was at Westlakes, which is a absolutely horrible ground to see now they've demolished all the grandstands. So it's probably best I didn't see that game because that ground is it's a cement waste hole. That's why they're moving out to Theverton next year, which I'm excited about because their new home ground's going to be near my parents' place, so I could probably ride my bike to their home games if I wanted to.
I think Dingley's the closest ground to me. That's still a 15-minute drive. Probably twice that in the season when there's more than 2 people trying to go to the place.
Oh dear. Well, now I would have had our notes up about what we were planning to the schedule today, but unfortunately, this has ended up being sort of technical difficulties. The podcast. So I was hoping. Do you actually have the notes up on your screen at the moment? What we were planning to talk about today?
I don't have notes on my screen. I write things down on paper, but I can try and screen print you the stuff I typed up. I just realised how stupid it is. I'm screen printing Facebook to send it to you on Facebook.
No, I can find it here. No, I've got it here. Never mind. Here it is. Right. It's the wishes for the season. That's what we wanted to do. And I forgot to take any notes on this, so I guess it's over to you for the first one.
My first wish for the season was for the one of the coaches to have a meltdown like the West Coast coach did 3 years ago, or Damien Hardwick seems to have every other week.
So which coach is most likely to have a mental breakdown? Like,
I don't know, half of them are new.
Yeah, that's the problem. We don't really know. Like, I don't know what Strach is like. I've seen like him in like 2 interviews. Actually, couldn't think of it. I think I've been pronouncing him Strachan, but I think it's pronounced Strawn. So I'm a real Port Adelaide fan.
I cannot imagine Tam Hyatt having a meltdown, but if she did, that'd be really funny.
It'd definitely be probably one of the male coaches. I'm just trying to think. Like, I don't know. Is it who's the Is it? I forgot who the Hawthorn coach is.
Daniel Webster.
Because he had.
I know that because he's named after the famous Daniel Webster from the 1830s.
Yeah, but remember he had a really big spray at the girls when they had that like scoreless quarter against Carlton in the semi-final. Do you remember when Carlton like came out and just kicked their ass in the first quarter? And
I don't remember. I mean, I was probably at the game. But
okay. Yeah, well, it was on TV. They showed at when the second quarter started, and they're like going out there. Seven played a replay of him just like.
Now, you know it'd be funny? Croc having a meltdown the first time North will lose in 2 years.
I'm going to let you know, the game North loses is going to be like a really violent game. Like, I bet you that when like North are down by like 3 goals at 3/4 time, let's just say the Bulldogs are doing it. They're gonna get like, you know, like, hey, you're losing, and they're gonna go.
No, after the Hawthorn game North played last year, like all of the North supporters at the final the next week, they were all super salty, and like they beat Hawthorn by heaps.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
When they lose, there is going to be a collective meltdown across the whole northern half of Melbourne.
Is it me? Or like Hawthorn, like strangely, like normally we think of the good teams of not being that thuggish, but Hawthorn does come across to me as probably the most likely to start a fight out of all the teams at the moment. Like in the AFL, it'd be, I don't know, like
Hawthorn.
Essendon. Is it? Oh, it's a Hawthorn as well in the men's as well. Just the most likely to
Hawthorn
start.
is notorious down here. Like all of their supporters, all of their players, like everyone's just like, if Hawthorn suck, they're quiet. But the moment the Hawthorns start getting good, like there's a reason that everyone hates them. And like 24, they
don't have to tell me.
They've been on the bottom for like 5 years or something. And then the moment they start getting good, which, by the way, I was at the game, they started getting good down in Tassie, and not pleasant. Tim English should never be allowed to do kick-ins ever again. I'm scarred from the memory. But they start being good, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we suddenly remember why we don't like Hawthorn.
Well, I guess it's time I put one of my wishes in, and I think I'll go with an obvious one that I think we both agree with, and that's Brisbane needs to not be in the grand final. Like, I know North is the other one that, like, you know, has been in the grand final, but Brisbane's been in 4 of them, and like, at least with North Melbourne, their amazingness of being like at the top of the line, that's been only in the last 3 years. In contrast, Brisbane's been basically good since 2017. I want Brisbane to have an off season. I know we've tipped them to like end 3rd or 2nd on the ladder, but like, I would love it. I'm sorry, Brisbane fans, but I would love it if they do not make finals this year.
That's cruel.
Like, give it over to someone else, someone different, someone who hasn't been in finals.
Everyone's been in finals now. I don't understand that stat. GWS has been in finals. When did that happen?
When did Bulldogs win a premiership?
In fairness, that was, you had to win 5 of 7 games, and then you were in the grand final. There was no finals then. And also, more North players now were at the Bulldogs in the flag than current Bulldogs players were.
Do you remember when Fremantle was on the cusp of winning their first ever premiership in the AFLW, and God was like, No, that's not happening. It sent us the plague in COVID.
I hope there's no plague come down in 3 weeks.
And it probably is.
No, I don't remember. I started following in 23. I picked a great year for it. We won 1 game.
Anyway, what's your next wish?
My next wish is the opposite of one of yours. I want West Coast to make finals and one that I can actually go to. Because I like West Coast.
You want them to make finals, but in like 8th or 7th spot, and then the 6th or 5th spot being a Melbourne team.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was last year.
Or 1st and 2nd, and then 3rd and 4th. That works too.
So that happened last year. Did you miss the game at Icon Park last year?
I went to it and then I forgot about it.
Well, to be honest, it was a pretty wet and miserable game. So you probably.
Well, that's why West Coast lost.
And you had to watch us Carlton one.
I don't want Carlton to win.
Oh dear. All right, I'll go with another pretty basic one. Even though I said I'm okay with North making the granny again, I do want them to lose a game this year. I think we all want to see them like, good on you. You broke the street record of the AFL and AFLW, 27 games or something ridiculous, which is like they've gone like what 2 whole seasons.
Interrupted by our pre-season game where we beat them that I was at.
Yeah, but like regardless of that, I think we all want to see North Melbourne finally finally lose the game. So we can all be like, okay, this competition isn't just North Melbourne beats up on every other team. Because we need to have something. We need to have some hope that at least one of us can win a premiership. And currently, we don't have any of that because like North wins every game by 30 plus.
What if North lost the grand final?
That could happen. I don't think so. I think they're going to, as it currently stands, I think they're going to finish the minor premiers, but I think they're going to lose 1 game. But again, I don't know who that's going to be. So we're currently just going to say the Bulldogs because you're going to have a go at me if I say another team. I know one team is definitely not going to beat them, and that's the team that's playing them this week.
Who is that?
The Cats. We'll get to that in a bit.
I
have a little story about that.
All right. Well, talking about the Cats, how about we have a really awesome game, Geelong versus Hawthorn?
That would be good, especially because that would be good. The one we're going to.
The rivalry gets 90,000 to the G every year. It's always one of the best games. I've been to one of them, even though I don't go for either team. And yeah, it'd be so awesome for that to carry over into W as well.
It's also at Cardinia Park, which is like the best ground in the AFLW because it's an AFL ground.
It really is. They do it so well there.
What's another wish I'd like to see? You know, I'll avoid like things like Port making finals and stuff like that.
My next one was the Dogs making finals, but I want it to be interstate because I like traveling to games.
I have one. I want Sydney to get a home final so I can go watch it. My honest opinion, I want them to finish 1st or 2nd, and then Port Adelaide to finish 3rd and 4th, and then I can watch Port crush the Swans in a qualifier at Henson Park.
That is the strangest thing ever, to be like, I want a different team to finish 1st or 2nd.
Well, if Port finishes 1st or 2nd, then the final's going to be at Alberton, and that's going to be like a $600 round trip to Adelaide. Either that or a 2-day car drive.
They finish 5th.
Or like,
that's just much less beating North involved.
So you said you want to see obviously Dogs make finals, but you want it to be an away final? Like you want to play in Adelaide or like Brisbane or something?
Most of my favourite games I've been to are the interstate ones. Except that stupid Hawthorn game in Tassie 3 years ago.
But like, I don't know, it's
There's something different about travelling to games. Because remember, I go to like the same 6 grounds over and over and over.
I guess
every week.
I guess I just like, you know, it's not as fun going to like obviously to me Alberton is almost an away game because I have to get out there, but like getting to sit around with people that are actually like cheering for the team you want to win It's a bit of an issue when you go to, like, a ground like what's going to happen when we play at Footscray this year, and like Port Adelaide going to score and everyone's going to be dead quiet because they're all Bulldog supporters. It's like, that's not fun.
Now, you know what was fun? When I went up to Alberton last year, I had 2,000 Port Adelaide fans screaming at me and me trying to be loud than all of them.
The only footage I saw, you were actually on the footage of that game. I was rewatching it like a few months ago, and there's a point where they're like sort of panning past the benches, and there's just you on the bench and going like you look pretty reserved from your normal.
My normal carry on.
I think that might be just after we took the lead, so.
Yeah, well, there was nothing to cheer for then.
Right. Do we have any more wishes? I'm trying to think of what's.
Well,
I have one.
Yeah,
AFLW to bloody announce that we're going, like, they're adding more games to the season. Like, obviously, I want 17 games in the season. But, like, even if we can just get to, like, 14 games, like, announce that they're going to start the season 2 weeks earlier. Like, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
Pretty basic one.
No disagreement there. I had one, but it kind of got thrown out the window on, I think it was Monday. Stop changing the times of games. Andrew Dillon, I know you're listening to this. We're a very important podcast and you're definitely listening to me. I have the world's worst grievance about this, seriously. 2 years ago, the audience won't know, you will, but the audience won't know. The Dogs were supposed to play Port at Whitten Oval, 5 o'clock.
My Port friends would know about this.
Yeah. And then they moved it to the G because the men's final was on. Except they did so after the game at the G had already sold out. So the Dogs supporters get this email that's like, I'll sign up to this waiting list to see if some tickets come available to go in. The whole reason that I wasn't able to go to the game was because I hadn't bought a ticket to the men's final. That is ridiculous.
I thought you could get in and then just leave before the men's game started. The fact that wasn't allowed.
No, you couldn't do that. Because I was at Canberra, because I was going to the our first game the next day. I was in my hotel in Canberra trying to, like, figure out what in Hades was going on there. And like, the email wasn't very good. That's common. And eventually I was just like, I rang up my boss. I'm like, I'm taking Friday off. I might be able to go again. I've got no idea what's going on. Didn't end up going to the game. Then we got...
I guess the argument the AFL would have made in that case is they figured so many of the Bulldog fans were already going to be at the G for the finals that the game should be there rather than at a half-empty Footscray because
that is reasonable from a Bulldog supporter point of view. It is not reasonable from a Port Adelaide supporter point of view.
No, there were no Port supporters at that ground.
Adelaide, and I booked a flight to Melbourne, and then, oh no, you can't go to the game because this other game that you've got nothing to do with is sold out. No, that... So, anyway, the grievance, they put out the new fixture for the men's games a few days ago. They've moved 9 W games.
Yeah, all of the ones that were tied to a...
9!
Oh, right, no, they've moved them. No, they've moved other ones around. They moved us around, and we're not doing any of the double.
They wrote the fixture. They knew what games were going to be played.
No, because it was tied to the floating fixture, because those games were in the floating fixture.
But they knew what the floating fixture games were going to be. Okay, they didn't know if they were going to put on Sunday or Saturday. But if you're going to announce when the games are going to be played, you don't change it afterwards.
Yeah, they should have tied the AFL games to when the AFLW games were happening.
It's simply not good enough. Like, we're playing Gold Coast in round 1. I'm going up to the Gold Coast. I had very nearly bought my tickets to the Gold Coast game thinking it's going to be at 2 o'clock. Now it's going to be at 7 o'clock in the evening. I was going to fly back the Saturday night.
Now you need a
hotel. The reason I didn't is basically I was waiting for someone else to send me something. They were slow. If I'd missed the game because the stupid fixturing, but that is just unacceptable. Like, if you're going to announce times, then you got to stick to them. What's the point in announcing times otherwise? You might as well just, we'll make it up the day before.
Actually,
Do they want people to go to games or not?
You are right. I believe a lot of the double headers were TPC, but then when they got moved to their new spots, they then moved other games around as well. Yeah. I totally get you, especially with the flights. Like, this isn't a I'll just drive over a bit later. No, like, you're right. When you booked flights, and yeah, right. And obviously, I wasn't at the Dogs Port game in 24. But I could imagine that there probably were Port fans screwed over by that. And, like, you know airlines, they never want to give you money back once you bought tickets.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, that game got moved by half an hour. My grievance with that is mostly that they changed the venue after the venue had sold out. Half an hour move, it's annoying that it's half an hour. Like, if you're leaving that little time to spare, you're stuffing around yourself. But these games this year, I think one of them got moved to a different day, and a lot of them have been moved. And some of the reason is supposed to be either you can go to both. You still can't go to both. The Gold Coast fans, if they want to go to their men's game and then their women's game in round one, they're 3 hours apart the start times. One's in the Gabba, one's at Carrara, so that's at least an hour to get to. So you can't even go to both games if you're a Gold Coast supporter.
Generally,
they moved it.
From what I remember with AFL and AFLW, generally the interstate teams switch between which teams at home. So Port Adelaide has never played a men's and women's home game on the same weekend. They've always been inverted, and I believe it's the same for all the teams.
Well, Gold Coast has their Q clash.
Yeah, so that's actually they're actually in some respects lucky that they're not playing in like Perth or Melbourne or something.
Yeah, so in theory, there's a Gold Coast supporter out there that wants to go to both games, and they physically can't, despite the fact that they've moved the time slot so that you can, in theory, go to both. Like, they're just not thinking it through at all. Like, what is going on at AFL House?
It's just once again with them talking. It's once again just treating the AFLW as a second-rate competition, which is just an unfortunate thing that they keep talking about how they're passionate about the women's game. Well, they need to bloody show it. They need to bloody get a 17-game competition. They need to have Marvel Stadium be available for a grand final, which I think might be the case this year. I'm not entirely sure about that.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, so I might be wrong about that. But let's actually speak. Let's get a bit on a more funny topic and speak a bit about yours. So you're obviously heading up to the Gold Coast next weekend, because again, this is this weird round one where the first game is this weekend and the rest of the games are next weekend. But yeah, first time going to the Gold Coast?
Not the first time I'm going to the Gold Coast, but the first time I'm going to the Gold Coast for the football. I went to the theme parks when I was like 10.
Same here.
I'll start with this. I was looking up the airports. Everyone who's watching right now, go onto Google Maps, type in Gold Coast Airport, zoom in on it. The New South Wales border runs through the middle of the airport.
Yes. I remember when I was last there. I'll tell you about my story in a sec, but I waited for my plane in Queensland. I then boarded my plane in New South Wales. I then taxied in New South Wales, and then left the ground in Queensland. It is a very funky airport.
That's just... Who designed that?
Also with the airport code of OOL, because nothing screams Gold Coast like the letters OOL.
Well, you go, ooh, as you fly over the New South Wales border. That's why it is.
Anyway, I guess I should tell you about my experience with the last time I was in Southeast Queensland, because it was last year and Port Adelaide was playing Brisbane in the men's, and I really wanted to check out the Gabba because I'd never been before, never been to Southeast Queensland. And what other people might know, so people who watch my political channel, Sormon, would know I did a video series where I went to the graves of all the Prime Ministers. Because I wanted to see what the resting places were. And I did video on like what they did in retirement and talked about it in front of their graves. Now, there were two buried in Brisbane. Frank Ford, famous for being our shortest serving Prime Minister. He was Prime Minister for 7 days.
He's not that famous. I've never heard of him, and that entire bookshelf up there is all history books.
And the other one is Arthur Fadden, who was a prime minister briefly during World War II because they knifed Robert Menzies and didn't have anyone else to take over the leadership. He apparently famously said he was the Noah Floods of prime ministers because he reigned for 40 days and 40 nights. But the third prime minister was not in Brisbane. He was in Grafton, if you know where that is.
Probably not Grafton, West Virginia.
So Grafton is a town that's about 3 hours to the south of Brisbane in New South Wales. And his ashes were laid to rest in the river there. So I went to go, film the river where his ashes were laid. So I came up with this brilliant plan. I wasn't going to fly to the Gold Coast or Brisbane. I was going to fly to Byron Bay because there is an airport at Ballina, which is another town that's like right next to Byron Bay, and it takes flights from Sydney. So I booked this reasonably expensive ticket from Canberra to Sydney and then Sydney to Ballina/Byron Bay, where I was going to pick up a rental car, drive up to Grafton on the Thursday, film the river and the memorial site, and then drive up to Brisbane where I had a hotel in Logan, which is South Brisbane. It's sort of between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Plan was all great, and then on Thursday I get to Canberra Airport and find out my flight says it's departing on Friday. And I'm like, what? And they tell me that there's apparently been high winds at Sydney Airport that has pushed my flight past the departure time of the Ballina flight. So the only way they can get me to Sydney is by taking the next really early flight the next day. So I'm like, well, I can't do this. Like, all my plans are built on getting to my hotel Thursday night. So I have to beg them, and eventually they let me go to to Brisbane. They let me fly straight to Brisbane instead of Ballina. But that's not till the night. So I go, well, I guess I'm going to work then. So I go to work, and everyone's like, oh, hi, Simon, I thought you said you were taking today off. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I hoped. But so I do a day of work, and then I get to the airport that night, and then I catch my flight into Brisbane. I get to Brisbane at about, about 6 p.m, I think. And then I have to get from Brisbane to Logan. So, alright, Brisbane Airport's in the north part of town. Logan is South Brisbane. So I had to take a train all the way to the city centre, and then, lo and behold, the trains running to the Gold Coast have a rail replacement bus. Because, of course! I have to ride
buses in Sydney last week.
I have to ride the rail replacement bus all the way to some station in South Brisbane, and then finally I can catch a train to this station called Eden's Landing. Now, my hotel, I remind you, I was meant to arrive at my hotel with a rental car I picked up in Ballina. So, it was nowhere close to the train station. And it also turns out that Logan City Council decides that you don't need buses after 6 p.m.
That's Melbourne.
So here's me getting off the train at 9 p.m. at night and having to walk 45 minutes across, something like 6 kilometres of hills, because this is like out of Brisbane, so we're in like the foothills here, to finally get to my hotel, which is this like house in suburban Logan that someone had just turned into a hotel. Thankfully, I was awake enough to figure out how to use the code box and get the key to get into the house. And then basically got to the house, and I wanted to wash myself because it was super sweaty, but I didn't really want to turn the showers on because it was a share house. So I just, as a hot sweaty mess, just go straight into the bed and fall asleep. And that was my first night in Brisbane. First time I've been back there since I was born and left as a 3-month-old baby.
I haven't booked Tassie or Perth yet. You're starting to make me think that I should just book the flight for tomorrow so that I get there in time for the game. It's at the end of the month.
Well, with us both ranting, should we actually get into the actual fixtures for this week? I think we've kind of
I thought we were going to talk about how our teams were actually doing before the fixtures. Because I mentioned we lost to Collingwood, but I didn't actually explain it.
All right, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so I've gone to all of our pre-season games. Sydney was a bit of a detour, but got there. We've been doing a few different things with like who's actually playing each week. The first one against Hawthorn, we just played everyone, and I think that was just the new kids. They've never played an AFLW game at all. Just chuck them in, see what happens, and we get smacked by Hawthorn. Well, Hawthorn were good, so that's kind of expected. The next two games, we played pretty much our best side. Smashed Geelong, smashed GWS, all good. Then against Collingwood, we go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do the things that specifically didn't work against Hawthorn and weren't needed in the other two. I think we looked at our top 30. Whoever does the selection just wrote them all the players out in order. 10 to 30, you're in. It was really odd. So Blackburn out, Pritchard out, McDonald out, Hartwig out, Woodley out, Alice Edmonds out. They're like 6 of the first 8 or 9 that you pick when you're doing our selection. So I did hear from a mate, the Collingwood team did have a couple out, but on the whole, they were pretty close to their best side. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I mean, I don't know anything about Collingwood, so I'll trust someone who at least looks at their website more than once a year. So, first quarter, we get 1 goal, they get 4, and I'm like, yeah, well, you're playing our not best side. We actually did get back. Within the last, 3 minutes of the game, we were only, 3 points out of it. So, I'll call them second stringers. It sounds mean, but I can't think of a better name for them. Are actually doing all right, but we are very reliant on our quote best side. Jess Fitzgerald was easily the best in the game. The other thing I did notice is positioning was all over the place. At times we had Sarah Powski starting forward, usually right in the guts in the midfield. Why is she playing for? I don't know. Elaine Griggs, same deal. Usually in a forward, attending centre bounces. I've never seen her in a centre bounce before.
But at the end of the day, these are just they're just testing the players to see how they perform in different areas in case they need to be switched around mid-year.
Yeah, I know that it's training, but I'm just watching the game and I'm like, what is happening here? What is happening here? Because there's so many changes. I've never seen Cleo Butterfin in the centre bounce before. She was in a bunch of them. We also, in the earlier games, Keely Hardingham, who she came over from our VFLW side a couple of years ago, and I was really high on her when she came over, and then she played 1 game last year. I'm like, you forgot about her. She was the best VFLW player in the whole comp. She did most of the rucking in all of the first 3 games. She didn't do 1 ruck attempt I could see in the whole game. Instead, we had Amaya Wayne, who I've never actually seen play before. She was our... I don't know what you call them draft in April. That spare draft where they're like...
There's a pre-season draft, I think they called it.
Yeah, I don't know, but...
Yeah, we didn't partake in it, so I didn't care.
Or so we picked her up, and my first thought on watching the highlight reels, they give you a 1-minute highlight reel. I'm like, why has no one added the Mario jumping sound to every time she jumps up? Because she leaps so high. Apparently, she used to be a high jumper. Which shows.
And then she's going over the players like this.
Yeah, but it'd be so funny if someone just edits a game and just adds the blowing sound to it. Her main opponent in the ruck was Ariana Hetherington, former North player. I don't know if she's good or not. I don't pay that much attention. But I thought she held her own in the ruck. So there might be something to that. Injuries. You sent me the injury list for Port an hour before we recorded, and I didn't read it.
Yeah, no, I'll give you a quick run of Port's injury, then you can tell me about the Bulldogs. So Port's injury is weird, because we've apparently only got 2 injuries. One is Gemma Charity, who I think you'd have to agree with me is probably one of the most unluckiest football players of all time. She did her knee last year and missed the entire season. She has done her ACL this year and it will miss the entire season again. We drafted her in 24 and she has played games because she's been injured.
Remember what we were saying about God and plagues earlier?
Something like that. God does not want Gemma Charity to play. Anyway, the other one is obviously Ellie Hampson, who that was our big pickup from the Brisbane Lions, premiership player from the Lions who picked up, and then she's apparently done like her ankle or something in the preseason. She's apparently going to be about 3 or 4 weeks out. I've heard she's a pretty speedy recovery, so I'm fingers crossed. But the weird part about our list is Caitlin Wedland, who did her ACL last year's preseason, isn't listed as an injury, but like I don't think she's played a single preseason game with us. And like people are saying she's wearing like the pink cap, which is like you can't tackle me during training cap. So it's like that indicates she's not ready to play, but then at the same time she's not on the injury list. So I don't know what her situation is. So yeah. Anyway, you were saying about the Bulldogs?
Yeah. So our injury list came out. Like I've been tracking who's come off the field early at our various preseason games. Alice Edmonds has been on the field for the 3 games that she was listed for. Suddenly she's injured. I don't know what happened. It must have happened yesterday because I don't know, but she's out allegedly 1 to 3 weeks. If she's out, I expect Hardingham will be our main ruck. But if Amaya Wayne is the spare that we play, there's something to see there, I reckon. Dee Berry has also been injured for a while. She was out a fair bit last year as well, so poor girl can't catch a break there. She said at season launch that she should be back for round 1. The official word is a test. I did hear in one of the practice games that it might be longer than that, but that was also before season launch. So maybe she's recovering well. I don't know. This is me guessing. And Liz Georgia-Stathis is also out. She seems to get hit every practice game. I don't know what's going on there, but they've got her as concussion protocols. She got hit in the head both, Saturday and also 3 weeks ago. So a couple of weeks ago, we didn't have anyone injured, and now it's like, hold on, I'm reading this list. Why is there a list here? I'm not happy about it.
Meanwhile, I just want to know, like, if some of our players were like perfectly fine, why weren't they at the preseason match last week? Now, there's a bunch of like players I'm like, are they like pseudo injured or something? I don't know. If that's even a word.
Yeah, our 4th one on our list is Charlie O'Connor, who drafted. She hasn't done anything at any of the preseasons. I haven't even seen her train before them. So I think she copped something months ago, and it hasn't been ready yet. I don't expect we'll see her for quite some time actually playing. They've got her listed as 1 to 2 weeks, but I mean she hasn't trained for a month as far as I can tell. So I don't know.
Well, regardless, obviously I don't want the video to go on too long. Shall we actually get to the actual tipping part of the video?
Oh, the predictions.
Yeah.
Where we bag the teams we don't like again.
So how this is going to work, I've decided to spice up regular tipping. So it's not just going to be a game of tip the team, because if we tip the same team, what we're going to do is we're going to set over and under margin. And basically, we need to guess, if we both think the same team, one of us will predict they're going to score over the margin, and the other will have to predict score under the margin. So generally, there should be no round where we both win, unless they somehow magically get the margin, which we'll just celebrate and say we're geniuses. So with that, you'll see how it works as we go through it. But let's start with obviously everyone's favourite weird game that starts a week before everyone else.
It's so much my favourite that I'm not going, even though it's a dog's list.
So Sunday, 4:35, Marvel Stadium. So we're obviously at the AFL ground.
I'm not shouting out the sponsors. They're rich enough.
Do you want to say doc? Okay, so do you want to go with with their.
I just call it Docklands.
All right, sorry. Saturday, 4:35, Docklands Stadium. Obviously, St Kilda is playing Carlton. Just a quick run through. Last year, St Kilda won this game. This was part of that 7 or 8 game win streak they had in the middle part of the season before it all just went to poo. And as a result, the odds are Carlton. I had a look at the tipping comp, and Carlton was favoured. I guess we'll do what we did in the ladder prediction. I'll give you my opinion of this game, and then I'll have you give your opinion of this game.
My opinion for most of them is just whatever I said last week. I just looked at the ladder and I was just like, yeah, I'll just stick with that, except that there are a couple of changes.
So, I said, obviously St Kilda won this game last year, but can we just be honest, Carlton had a way better final series than the Saints. I've watched, obviously, I'm a bit of a small, I know you hate me for this, but I kind of like Carlton because of, I love some of their, they've just got some really good players that I really...
You just want their players to come over to Port.
Shh! But, as a result, they definitely look like the stronger team. Maybe they get a reality check like we did last year, at the start of last year. But it's for this reason, I'm tipping Carlton. I guess the ball's in your court now. Which team are you thinking of tipping?
I am regretfully tipping Carlton. I've got them down as winning by 4 goals.
So you have them winning by 4 goals?
Yeah.
So that would be, 24, right?
That's what the math says.
So where do you want to think, where should we set the... I don't think they'll win by that much, so I'm happy to take the under. Would you say...
What's your predicted margin, and then we'll make the over-under halfway between?
I would probably say Carlton by probably 14.
Alright, so 19, I'm over your under.
Yeah, alright, we'll set the margin at 19, so I'll be minus 19, and you will be plus 19, which just is how I'm just doing it on the screen here to predict the... Alrighty-o. It's going to be so funny if we're talking on Facebook throughout this game and the margin goes above 19. It's like, yes! And then St Kilda gets a goal and I'm like, yes! And then St Kilda gets so many goals that they start winning and like, no!
I did look that the game is on Channel 7, so I can watch it without financially supporting either team. Or supporting the AFL's stupid idea to do double headers. I don't like double headers, they take too long.
Anyway, I guess we should move over to the real week of round 1, not this weird early start thing. Hawthorn versus Melbourne at Princess Park, I guess.
Yeah, that's why
I'm going to rewrite this because I've written all the sponsored names because I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, it's what you're supposed to do if you get paid by the sponsors. I don't see all these companies paying me, so I'm not shouting them out.
Regardless, it's Thursday, 7:15. The last time these two teams met was Hawthorn 2 years ago. This is the only game this round that wasn't a game that happened last year. The last time these two teams met was 2 years ago. That's when Hawthorn won every game bar one. And interestingly, despite that, the odds are for Melbourne. But I'll throw it over to you about who you think is going to win this game.
Well, I spent half of the ladder video last week talking up Hawthorn and how good they're going to be. Melbourne was the team that I was like, do I put them second or fourth? And I put Hawthorn second, so I have to tip them. But I'm only going them by 1 goal.
Okay.
I'm not super confident.
So, this game reminds me a lot about what happened in round 1 last year, where Hawthorn played Brisbane, and I tipped that Brisbane was going to win, and then they didn't. And so I don't want to make that mistake again. So I'm also going to tip Hawthorn. So you think they're going to win by 1 goal?
Yeah. Remember, Brisbane suck at the start of the season.
Yeah.
That's your problem. After round 4, you tip them, not before.
Also, Hawthorn had a scoring problem. So I could see them winning by a little as well. But I'm happy to take the over on this. Do you want to set the... How about the over of about 10, maybe? Do you think 10's a good one? So I'll go over 10, you go under 10?
Yep.
All right. So Hawthorn plus 10, and you are Hawthorn -10. I feel like it's kind of risky when you go with the minus score because you have to thread the needle between getting under that but not having them lose.
I'll be at the game. I won't be paying attention. Is it close?
You'll be like, this game's awesome, and it'll be like, hey, I'm winning my tip right now. Oh. Oh dear. All right, so no Friday games because we instead jumped to Saturday 1 p.m. at Docklands Stadium for North Melbourne versus Geelong. I believe this game happened at Cardinia Park last time, so it's interesting that it's doing this. Well, at least now North can unfurl their flag in round 1, which I always think if you win the premiership, you should get the first game home game because it feels weird unfurling your flag in round 2.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought they'd do it at Arden Street, like whenever they first play there. But
actually, you're right. Are they? It's a weird thing. Are they going to unfurl their flag at Docklands Stadium?
I don't know. Well, they've got us in round 3. Round 2, they're playing away.
Yeah.
When's it? Round 5.
I don't think they're going to wait until round 5 somehow.
No. I think they'll unfurl their flag. There's also a bit at Marvel Stadium in front of a lot of their AFL audience who might not be interested, but it's still good to get the flag unfurled.
Reminds me of because we've got them in the men's game this week. I was reading up the last time we met was North celebrating their 100 years fuss, and they brought out all the cups, and I remember about all the controversy last week that someone had a sook about the W team being included.
Yeah, I remember that. But regardless, the odds are obviously for North Melbourne to win this game, and I know everyone talks about Geelong as this North Melbourne boogeyman team because they got a draw in 2024, but can we just be honest? That was a fluke. It's never going to happen again, and North put Geelong away really easy last year by about 30, which is what I've set the margin to. In fact, I could possibly think it could be even higher. So, what do you have?
I wrote them down as 4 goals. So let's put the margin at 27 and then on under.
All right, I'll go 20. So I'll go North Melbourne over 27 and North Melbourne. I wonder if we're going to have any games where we actually switch on who we're tipping. There's a few up here that might be interesting. We've got Richmond.
I've got one that I think will be split on.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Well, this one is interesting because I'm actually a bit unsure. Richmond versus Collingwood, Saturday, 5:05 at Princess Park. Last time Richmond won, I think I remember this one because it had mark of the year. The Richmond captain took a crazy mark without looking. But the odds are for Collingwood to win this one. I'll throw it over to you about what you think about this game.
Collingwood beat us in a preseason game 3 days ago. I'm still recovering from that. So I did have Richmond higher in the ladder video last week, but I'm going to tip Collingwood. Ellie McKenzie's out. Richmond aren't that good to begin with.
Yeah.
Don't take much.
I wrote here that Richmond has more class, they're a bit of a more older and mature team, but to be honest,
yeah, but new coach. Wait, they are a new coach, right?
Yeah.
Probably not going to make that much of a difference on the first week, I wouldn't have thought. I don't know. I've got Collingwood by a goal, so...
You also mentioned that the Pies did have a lot of turnover in players, but I guess I also think preseason could be a bit of a red herring because of Carlton dominated preseason and then sucked, at least for the first part of the men's season this year. Although they're playing good now, so
yeah, that's they sacked their coach.
Yeah, well, for interest, just to keep it interesting, I will tip Richmond just so we don't have to do the silly margin one, but yep. And I'll give you Collingwood. So that'll be an interesting one to see who gets right on that one. I think
Collingwood beat us, so they better actually live up to it. Otherwise, I feel like a spar.
It's preseason. There's no points. It doesn't matter.
It counts if you win, and I wanted it to count. And also, I was at the game.
We lost to Collingwood in the pre-season as well, imagine, and they still finished bottom 4. Last year. Anyway, alright, obviously I'll break my rule on this one. I think I'll let you go first on this one. It's obviously Gold Coast versus Bulldogs at Carrara Stadium. Although, despite being Carrara, I don't think this one is a prelude to an AFL game. This one's just an actual standalone game in
No,
Carrara.
were you listening to my rant half an hour ago?
Yeah.
You can't go from the AFL game to this one. There's not enough time.
Regardless, 7:15 on the Saturday night. Last time these two teams met was in Mackay, where the Bulldogs just destroyed. I don't think the Suns kicked a goal in that
I've
game.
never seen Gold Coast kick a goal.
Somehow they bloody kicked 6 against us at Alberton because we couldn't, we kept bleeding goals last year.
I went to 2 Gold Coast games last year, and they didn't get a goal in either of them.
Anyway,
I hope that trend continues. That'll be so funny.
Either way, the odds are for the Bulldogs to win this game. So I'll throw it over to you. I'll be very interested if you tip against the Bulldogs here, if this is the game you were telling me.
No.
Thank
I don't
goodness.
tip against the Dogs. I never tip against the Dogs. 8 goals.
You think the Dogs by 8 goals?
Yeah.
I will admit, I kind of wouldn't mind going for the over on this one as well. I'll give a little bit of faith to Gold Coast that they aren't going to be entirely shit. Maybe they can sorry, I shouldn't be swearing. I'm not meant to swear in this channel. I think that the Suns will be decent for 1 quarter, which is enough to prevent them losing by that much. So I'll go 6 goals, and we say 7 goals the difference.
Yeah.
So we'll go Western Bulldogs. 7 goals. That's what 7 times 6
42.
is 42. So I think we've currently set this one as the biggest margin. This is bigger than the North Melbourne margin.
Well, last year we were beaten by 11 goals, so...
True.
One of the best games we've ever been to.
Alrighty.
Alright.
I guess it's now time to go to Windy Hill, which thankfully doesn't have a sponsor day because the ground's too old to be sponsored.
Why would you sponsor it? Players get injured there.
But regardless, it's Sunday, 2:35. There's 4 Sunday games, which is crazy. 12:35. The last time these two teams met was Brisbane, which I think was kind of late last year. And for some reason, despite being rubbish, Brisbane really struggled to score goals at this game. But they won regardless because Essendon didn't do anything. The odds are for Brisbane to win. No. So, yeah.
Lots of brain power went into that one.
I think Brisbane will pretty easily win this game. Maybe they might. I think they'll have that scoring issue again, just because Windy Hill's just lives up to its name. The wind just howls everywhere, and you can't kick straight. So I can see Brisbane struggling to kick goals, but I don't think Essendon's going to kick anything. So I don't know. Brisbane by 20.
I've seen Essendon get a goal before. I don't think they'll get many, but Brisbane suck at the start of the season. Brisbane by 12.
All right, so should we?
No, so 2 goals.
So should we set it at 16? I'll go 16 over, and you go 16 under.
Done.
All right. Alrighty. Oh. Next up is Adelaide versus Sydney at Unley Oval.
I don't even know where it is.
It's in Unley.
Where's that? And don't say Adelaide, I know exactly.
It's inner south. Think of it like I don't know, south. No, not South Bank. A bit further south, like St Kilda. Like it's a suburb. It's a very fancy, gentrified inner city suburb because Adelaide. I think I have a friend who lives near the Oval now. He was telling me he saw them doing some warm ups there or something the other day.
Tell you, if I lived next to Whitten Oval, I'd be there all the time. It's an hour's drive away, so it's I can't just go there after work every day. But I absolutely would if I lived close.
But regardless, Adelaide won this game last year and that really nailed by it. Like it was only like by 3 or something, and I think Sydney missed like a shot after the siren that would have won them the game. But despite that, the odds are very much for Adelaide to win this game. But I'll throw it over to you about what you have.
Yeah, I had Adelaide by 2 goals.
Yeah.
I didn't really put any thought into it other than I bagged Sydney for half of last week, so I can't tip Sydney.
I'm pretty similar on that. But I could see an upset. Like I could see Sydney winning, but I think I'd also.
We did both say Adelaide had choked this year, so.
Yeah, they did lose to St Kilda in round 1 last year, if you remember.
I do remember that.
That was the big upset. So, like, I could choose to go with Sydney and go either or, but I don't know. I just don't trust Sydney. Like Adelaide, at least, like even if they're getting worse, they're still generally reliable from week to week. So I think they're with Adelaide too. Do I go with this being now? I think I'll go with Adelaide pulls away because it's at home. So you said Adelaide by 12. I'll go Adelaide by 14. Do you want to if we go 13 as the plus minus?
13 and under, yeah.
I'm curious to know which one of us has predicted the bigger blowouts, which one didn't. Because I remember when I first did my tipping by myself last year, I remember in round 1, I tipped all these tight margins within 20. And then we had multiple games that were well beyond 20 margins.
I don't really tip blowouts because when they happen, unless it's our men's team last year, it's always like someone should not have choked as badly as they did.
All right. Regardless, we now get to Fremantle versus Port Adelaide at, I believe it's pronounced the Coburn Arc Oval. I don't know if that's a sponsored name. If it's not got a sponsored name, I don't know what it is.
Coburn's the name of the suburb.
Okay.
It's named after a British admiral who was responsible for burning Washington.
Also, it's called Coburn Oval. That is a silent C and a silent K right next to each other, trying very hard for me not to call it Cockburn Oval.
Because it's named after the admiral who also had the silent letters. He lived in the 1800s. Of course they can't spell.
Regardless, Sunday 2:35. These two teams met, we met each other in the first round of last year too, except it was at Alberton that time.
And you met in pre-season.
Yes, we did also meet in pre-season. And the odds are very much for Freo to win this game. And look, I was feeling optimistic about our chances here. And then I watched Australia versus Ireland. And I watched as Mim Strom absolutely kicked ass. She just dominated the ruck and midfield possessions. In contrast, Matilda Schultz, I mean, it's all right. That's how the beat
dominate.
goes.
Does not currently hold #1 ruck title.
We also have to deal with the history that we've never won a round 1 matchup in our club's history, and it's for this reason that I know you think it's sacrilegious.
It is sacrilegious.
I don't think Port can. I don't think Port's coming in very much as the underdog, and I'm probably going to tip Freo, but I'll probably tip them on a narrow margin. I think we'll take it up to them, but it's their home game. Our best weapon is our ruck, and they're the only team that has a better ruck than us. It's for those reasons that I have to tip Freo, but I'll go narrow. I'll probably say Freo by 8 or something.
I had Freo by 3 goals. Remember all of the stuff I said last week that you got really upset about me not thinking Port would be any good. That's my reason why.
But we've started all up. We're a bit like your team. We start seasons kind of weak and get stronger as the season goes on. So I still am confident in our position on the ladder. I just don't think we're going to do amazing in round 1. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for an upset. I think we can surprise Freo. It's on the table, but I also have to check what their injury list looks like. For all I know,
I didn't look. I don't care.
No, I don't check. Also, I don't know how important different players are because I don't meticulously study other teams like I do Port. But regardless, we're up to the final round, and it's your favourite team. It's GWS versus the West Coast Eagles at Sydney Showground Stadium.
I've been there.
Also, it's
Last week.
Sunday 4:45.
10 days ago.
The last two times these teams met last year was, I think, West Coast bet GWS quite handily, and I think I remember feeling really stupid about this because it was just after GWS bet Sydney in the Derby, and I tipped them. And I felt so stupid after that. Like, why the hell did I tip GWS to beat West Coast?
The first half of that sentence was correct. I think you tipped GWS. I tipped Essendon men's against GWS a few weeks ago. And I got that right. I got that one right. And the reason, pure spite, don't need anything more than that.
Well, we already know who you're tipping for this. The question is, by what margin?
6 goals.
Because I honestly think this could be the biggest blowout of the round, possibly bigger than the Bulldogs versus Gold Coast. Not that I rate West Coast that amazing, but
I do.
I think they could really, I'm just thinking 6 goals, that's what, 30? Do I try and steal the upper margin? No, I think you've gone with the more lower. I'll go under. Just to keep. I'll go 28, and we'll set 29 as the margin. But I honestly think I'm feeling more bullish on you here.
I've been talking up West Coast for 2 weeks when I've seen them play 3 times in 2 years.
So
I've got committed.
So it's you with West Coast and me with Carlton is
Yeah.
Except the problem is I don't hate West Coast that much, except when they beat us.
I just find it funny to pretend to hate them. I don't really care about them.
Anyway, just to run through our tipping before we wrap up the video. So we both predict Carlton in the first game. With 19, I'm as the under, you as the over. Next up, Hawthorn Melbourne. We have Hawthorn winning. I have 10 as the over, and you have 10 as the under. Yep. North Melbourne versus Geelong. We both have North Melbourne. I'm predicting over 27. You're predicting under 27. Richmond and Collingwood's the only one we've tipped differently. I've tipped Richmond against my better judgment, and you've tipped Collingwood. Gold Coast versus Bulldogs, we've both predicted a Bulldogs flogging. You by above 42 and me by less than 42. Essendon versus Brisbane, we've both tipped Brisbane but not by much. I'm above 16, you're below. Adelaide versus Sydney, I've tipped Adelaide to win over 13. You've tipped Adelaide under 13 in a pretty close game. Fremantle versus Port Adelaide, it's the exact same. We both think Freo, but the 13's a switch. Now I'm expecting under 13, you're expecting over 13.
Yeah, you've got back 8. I don't care.
I didn't back them all last year when they started winning all the games, and that's how we win. But regardless, GWS versus West Coast. West Coast. Woo have them at West Coast winning by, I'm under 29 points and you're over 29 points. So I'll start next week's video. Well, actually, we're not going to have a video next week because
we don't care about St Kilda Carlton.
We're not going to review one game. We're not like the AFL that basically makes dedicated videos for the Thursday and Friday night games, and then doesn't even bother to do a video for the Sunday games. And then recounts the Thursday and Friday night games on the Saturday game. I'm like, this is just, it's like, Thursday games just need to be covered about 100 times to Sunday. So we're not doing that. We give all the games even screen time, except the ones that we're in because they're more important.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, when Port plays the Dogs, we're not even going to talk about the other games at all. We're just carrying on.
Oh, I am very interested to see where this podcast goes in that round. But regardless, as I said, we won't be back next week. We'll be back the week after to properly review the whole of round 1. And maybe we'll come up with some more fun stories to talk about, such as getting very mad over fixture changes or hiking through suburban Brisbane at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, I'll have a trip to Queensland next week.
Oh yeah, that'll be a lot of fun to talk
So
about.
I should have some.
You'll come back like super tanned.
I'm up to take sunscreen, and also it's August. It shouldn't be too hot.
But regardless, once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, good to have you on.
And remember, let's go power!
No.